Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. There are singing videos coming. There is a reason why I'm not doing any singing videos right now that I can't talk about. But today we're going to be doing something very silly. We're going to be very silly today. We're going to do a very controversial and by no means official ranking of The Office seasons. You ready to be silly with me? Now, if you don't watch the show, this is going to be really boring for you. If you have seen the show, you might disagree with me. If you hate my opinion on this, let's talk about it. Let's chat. Right? I also want to clarify that I think personally that The Office is like ice cream. Like there's really no bad. There are a few episodes maybe that are kind of cringe, but it's all good. It's just like levels of good for me. So I would watch, and I have watched the show front to back probably 6 or 7 times through in my life. It's like my comfort show. It's just what happens when I have nothing else to watch or when I'm just feeling a little stressed or whatever it might be. So understand that I don't really think any of it's bad. With that being said, let's dive right into it. Let's make this quick. Starting off with, I don't think an opinion that's super controversial. The worst season of The Office that exists is season 8. Season 8. It's just not my favorite TV. And I think a lot of people think that season 9 is their least favorite. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think that's the case later. But right now we're going to focus on season 8. Why is season 8 not the best season of The Office? Towards the end of the show in general, the writing got worse. The characters became more erratic. They started acting out of character more. Jim and Pam started to be a little less predictable. They broke the fourth wall at the end of the show. But that kind of happens in season 9 more than season 8. But they definitely try new things constantly. They're introducing new characters like Robert California, who I cannot stand. That character is just so grating on the senses. He just irks the out of me, and I think that's the point, I guess, of him, but it's not effective for me because it makes me not want to watch. He's creepy, he's weird, he sends weird shivers up my spine. He's just not a character that I can empathize with or get behind at all. Whereas like the other characters in The Office who are unlikable, like Michael or Andy or even Gabe, like they have, I don't know, they have levity to them and they're funny, and you still do root for them even though they're kind of weird and like, I don't know, not exactly cool people, right? I thought the garden party episode was corny. I see what they were doing there too. Like they were trying to make us root for Andy and kind of give us more of an origin story on why Andy's so extra, like because his parents hate him and we see his parents and we meet like Josh Groban, his brother, and I see what they were doing there. It didn't hit for me. The only funny part of that episode is like Jim pranking Dwight, like as per usual, which I think is a strong through line in the show, how that kind of happens the entire time. Like I love that, but I don't know, that episode really fell flat for me, and a lot of the episodes in general just kind of fall flat. There's a list that Robert California makes and they end up on one side of it and people are arguing over who's who and who makes them, and I'm just like, this isn't believable for me because nobody would really respect this man that much. Like I see that they're trying to make him somebody who commands respect and is kind of like mysterious and like godly in a way, and I just never felt that. He just always read as weird to me. And then Daryl loses the lottery and he spirals over that and he becomes kind of a and that's annoying, and like because I love Daryl and I want to fight for Daryl, but he's like, he makes it really hard in that season. It's just all very like they're stretching so much in this season. It doesn't feel like the same formula as earlier in the show where it's kind of like the mundanity is like part of it and like kind of why it works. It just seems like they lost sight of that and they made these big plots and it just doesn't feel right to me. They lost the realism, you know, and I think that realism is something that holds the show together in a very profound way, and it keeps things, you know, it keeps us in the world, and it just, when you lose that, you lose a lot of the funny. Ranking 9th on the list, season 8 of The Office. Number 8 on the list, and this is going to be so controversial, I feel. I don't know, but I think this is going to be a really unpopular opinion. And I'm not afraid to say it. F***ing brave. Season 3. Season 3 pissed me the f*** off. I don't like it, and I avoid it at all costs, to be honest. I'm just never interested in it. I don't really like Karen. She's not my favorite character on the show. No shade to Rashida Jones. I think she's very slay, but I just don't like the Karen character very much. I don't really believe her and Jim together. They seem like brother and sister to me. I also don't like that Jim leaves. I don't like spending half the time in Stamford. I don't like the split time. I feel like you're taking away the heart of the season, which is really Jim and Pam, right? And like at that point when you get there, it's only season 3. We've only had 2 seasons, and the first season is only 6 episodes, I think. So there's not even a lot of time before then that you really get invested in Jim and Pam's thing. And then before you even really get comfortable with that, they rip them apart, and it always felt very disjointed to me, and it's the season I always avoid. Jim being away just like makes the show suffer, in my opinion. I don't like the split dual life of it all. I did think there were some really strong episodes. The Benihana episode is hilarious. The Christmas episode, I think that's so funny. Michael at Pam's art show, the moments of Michael having humility and being cool, because he's such a dingus like most of the series, when he does have moments of humility and humanity, it just really hits. And I love when Michael is at the art show and Pam's having like a horrible day at the art show because nobody from the office is coming, and then Michael shows up last and he's like so impressed by it and he just loves it and it makes Pam's day and he hugs her. I think that is probably one of my favorite moments of the show ever. It is interesting though, because I guess Pam is having a particularly hard time at that point for so many reasons, and one of them being that Jim is not there anymore. So I see what they're doing there. I just the whole season at large feels very disjointed to me and feels separate from the entire rest of the show because it takes place in sort of two offices. So coming in at number 8 is season 3. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. Coming in at number 7, season 9, the last season of The Office. Now, I don't think the writing is particularly good here, and a lot of people have this at like the bottom of their list. A lot of people think that the show just kind of got worse as it went on, and I disagree with that in a lot of ways. I think the writing does suffer a bit in season 9. I do think, though, that the finale of the show is the best finale to happen in sitcom history, to be honest. I think they really did that right. Like they tugged the right heartstrings. They brought the right people back. They showed them together. They ended it the right way where they're all in the office and they're all kind of sitting in their like respective positions that they've sat at for years. They closed the loop exceptionally well with that. And I was just really impressed with the finale. And I think the finale really makes up for it. Even if there are episodes in the season that don't exactly hit super hard, I just think that finale is so good. I think the lice episode is funny. I think Pam covering that whole story up, and then Meredith shaving her head, and them going to the bar together, and them having human moment. Like, I think there's a lot of human moments in this season, and they're wrapping things up in a way that felt more grounded and honestly more like the earlier seasons, where it felt kind of homey and comfy, where season 8 kind of went off into weird, strange territory with like the Florida trip and all that shit. They did so much in season 8 that didn't hit and that felt very like out of this world. And then on season 9, I feel like they took the note or something and they got back to like the core of it. There's some unfunny stuff. I get it. I hate Andy's arc in this season so much. It's insufferable. I could have really left liking that character a lot, but he makes such an ass out of himself and he's so inconsiderate and unlikable in that season that it just leaves the worst taste in my mouth for him. So I hated that they did that. I do love seeing like the independence that comes out of Erin from that all though, and like how she manages that, and she ends up with Pete. Is his name Pete? I think it's Pete. I love her character development. I love her arc in this season, and honestly throughout the show in general, I think Erin is just like one of the best characters. She's so good. But I think that having Andy be such a flop just really irks me. But in general, I think the season just came home a little more, and they did wrap it up in such a eloquent and interesting way that I don't think this is the worst season, and I disagree if it's number 9 on your list. For me, it falls at a firm number 7. Coming in next at number 6 on the list is season 1. Okay. Another controversial opinion, because I think a lot of people think this is one of the better seasons of the show. It was 6 episodes. There wasn't a ton of time or content to prove itself. It didn't have like so much of a chance to be the best season, which I understand. I think it's very good, but I just don't think it's one of the best. They were still finding themselves. They were still finding their voice. A lot of these characters are completely underdeveloped. Really, Michael is very developed. Jim gets developed, and Dwight and Pam gets somewhat developed, but you don't really see any of the characters besides Jim and Michael and Dwight kind of pop out of their shell. You don't get like Meredith. You don't get Angela. You don't get Kevin or Phyllis. These are really like supplemental characters at this point, and it doesn't feel like there's a ton of world building happening in these 6 episodes. I do think it's a strong start. The lo-fi-ness is kind of endearing. You know, Michael's hairline is different, and it's just funny to watch that. There are funny episodes, like The Alliance is a hilarious episode. Jim's mind games with Dwight, just having that relationship kind of set up in the first season is really smart, and I think they did a great job. But I don't ever watch season 1. Like, I'll usually go right to season 2 if I'm starting to binge the show. Probably the driest season, I'd say, definitely. And they're kind of going off that UK so I understand them doing that. I understand why it's so dry. When you know how far the show went after, it is interesting to see how they kind of planted those seeds. But for me, it's just not one of the best. That was season 1 at ranking number 6. Coming in at number 5, season 7. I think that's controversial too. I don't think a lot of people like this season very much. You know, it's Michael's last season. Super sad, right? We have Holly heavily involved. She's a great character. I think they did tie up Michael's arc super well. I think when he leaves, it feels, as much as it feels like it's too early because you're so afraid of what the show is going to be like after he's gone, I think it feels right on time. They do a good job at like managing expectations and giving you a lot of warning. And then they have it that when he actually leaves that episode, the surprise twist of him like leaving a day early, I think that's so smart. Like it makes you so sad when it happens. And then when Pam misses him and she can't say goodbye, but then she goes to the airport, that's one of the most heart-wrenching moments of television history. It's so good. Like, she takes her mic pack off and like they break the fourth wall in that sense. She goes up to him and she hugs him. It's just, oh, that episode, that's one of my favorite episodes ever. And I don't watch it much because it makes me sad, but it's such a good episode. It's heart-wrenching as and the whole departure of Michael Scott in general is just so well done. It's like, it's such good TV. They also just like round out and bring back so many references that they made earlier in the show. Like they reference the Dundies again. Michael's Last Dundies is a whole thing. The counseling with Toby, like Michael makes this offhanded comment about his stepdad Jeff, and that's something that they set up in the first season. They're just like bringing back all these weird niche references that if you are like a super fan of the show, you're kind of catching all these things and you're like, oh wow, that's part of the lore. And they really honored the lore in this season very well, I think. Andy's play, what is it? Edward Scissorhands? Sweeney Todd. Oh my God, such a good episode. There's so much funny shit. Threat Level Midnight, they've been like referencing this movie that Michael's making the whole entire series, and then all of a sudden they actually show you the movie. That's such a fun Easter egg episode. Like they didn't even need to do that. It's just, that to me really jazzes me up. I think it's really good television. I think season 7 is some of the best that there is to offer, but it comes in at number 5 on my ranking list of The Office. Next up, this is such a good season. Now we're getting into like the seasons that are like so good, right? Like we started with the ones that were like, you know, a little flatter, not as good. Like I said, it's pizza, it's ice cream. It's like it never is bad, but it's sometimes really, really good. Season 5 of this show is so good. So many things happen. So many things happen in this season. And one of the best mechanisms I think The Office ever used was the introduction of the character of Charles Minor in the story, because he, first of all, he's hot as and then he comes in and plays this perfectly eloquent, sort of like the opposite of Michael Scott character. The way they juxtapose those two characters is so good, and it shows itself through episodes like Michael Scott Paper Company, and when he's trying to sell the company to David and Charles in the room, and Charles and him are like bickering. And you like hate Charles Minor so much because Idris Elba does like such an incredible job at playing that role. You root for Michael so hard this season. He's earned all your like love and respect in previous seasons, and they really use that in this season to like kind of make crazy things work, like Michael going out on his own and starting a paper company. And Pam also has such good character development in this season. She's in her own way really fed up with her job and fed up with her life and having these kind of crises, and then it's perfect timing for her to jump on board with Michael and then have this kind of existential crisis about it. And then Ryan gets involved, and Ryan is so annoying all the time, but he's so likably annoying. And the three of them together is such an interesting dynamic. That is such a good trio to put together to show each other their respective strengths, like to point out what's good about Michael, what's good about Pam, what's good about Ryan, because they're all good at different things and all bad at different things. And it's so fascinating to see them operate together. I love all the Michael Scott Paper Company thing. I think that's just an incredible plot line. The arrival of Aaron. Thank God for Aaron. Like Aaron is really one of the backbones. One of the funniest moments of television history too is, what episode is this? Okay, it's Casual Friday. It's season 5, episode 26. And Kevin like makes this chili and he brings it in and he's talking about the way they edit and film this is so funny. Like he's talking about all the love he puts into this chili, and he like loves this chili so much, and then he brings it in and he just drops it all over the floor. It's so funny and such good TV. It's so good. Cafe Disco is a hilarious episode. Dwight starts sucking up to David Wallace and Charles Minor, and that becomes a thing. And there's just so many good relationships being tested and formed. I think this is like masterful TV writing to me. I'm not a TV writer, so I don't really know what I'm talking about, but it just feels so right to me the whole season. The blood drive, when Michael's like looking for the woman that he met at the blood drive, oh my God, and you start to root for him so hard because he's looking for love in his life. He's single this season. It sets up Holly to come in really well. I just think it's iconic. I just think it's a really good season. I always watch this one back. This is one of my first choices when I'm watching it back, because it's just, there's so many good moments. There's like limitless good moments. So season 5 coming in at number 4. This is also controversial, and I think 3 and 4 on this list could probably be switched, and I would be okay with that. Season 6 is number 3 for me, mostly because of the following episodes: Niagara Falls, Scott's Tots, and Happy Hour. Michael on that date is just so damn funny. Like Date Mike, that whole persona that he puts on is just so funny. It's so good, y'all. And this season having Niagara Falls is why it's so high on this list. I don't think the season is like the best season. I don't think it's incredible. But having Niagara Falls in the season is kind of why. That episode, the wedding, is just, it's just golden. It's golden television. It's perfect. The new leads episode is fucking hilarious. They're digging through the dump looking for the leads, and Michael and Dwight are fighting, and their tension kind of comes to a head. Like all the tension that's been building for the last 2 seasons comes to a head with them. It's just expert. Scott's Tots, don't talk to me about Scott's Tots. It's so good. Everybody knows that episode is amazing. I'm sure it's world renowned. It's just one of the best episodes of television ever. This season is packed full of stuff. There's so many emotional moments. Saber comes into the play. So like that is kind of a jump the shark moment where you have like this new entity that kind of owns the company. That's kind of weird, I guess. But then you bring Kathy Bates' character in. I think her name's Joanne Bennett, I think. And that's iconic. She's funny as in that role. You bring Gabe in, he's hilarious. Like all the new characters that they're introducing at this point are really smart and really good, I think. So I just love this season. I think it's really funny. Third on my list, season 6. Okay, we're coming down to the end. Top 2 seasons of The Office, in my opinion, my humble opinion. If you don't agree, let me know in the comments. Ranked at number 2 is season number 2. Perfect. This is television gold. People who say they don't like this show, I understand. It happened at this like very topical time. The financial crisis was happening. Like the American workplace was still sort of revered, but people were starting to turn on like the corporate vibe a little bit, and Occupy Wall Street was happening. Like this show, I understand if you watch it now and it's like not hitting for you, I totally get it. The context is very important with the show. But if you don't like the show and you haven't seen anything from season 2, go watch season 2. It's so fucking funny. It starts with arguably the most iconic episode ever, which is the Dundies. The Dundies is so fucking funny. It shows Michael at his most stupid, crazy self. It shows character development between Jim and Pam. It's an amazing character development that happens in that episode. Jan and Michael are kind of getting together, and there's all that tension, which I just think is like the most unhinged in the world. The booze cruise is iconic. Jim brings his like hot date onto the booze cruise, but he like is in love with Pam, and he's having this really crazy internal conflict that he acts his ass off. It's so well played. You have Roy in the season who's like insufferable, and you hate him so much. There's people to hate, there's people to love, there's enemies, there's heroes, but it's all happening in this mundane, like the most mundane American boring workplace setting, and it's so well done. I think it's so good. Michael's birthday, when Kevin like is getting a skin cancer scare, but Michael's too focused on himself, and then they go skating, and it's just like, oh, it's so funny. The Office Olympics is iconic. Jim and Pam really grow their relationship in that season. And the whole season 2, part of the reason why season 2 is so good is because the sexual tension between Jim and Pam in this season peaks. It maxes out because they're not together, right? But you can tell they both like each other. Jim is like very open about like the fact that he likes Pam, and Pam is like very coy about it the whole time. You can tell she likes him, but she's with this guy, so you don't really know what's going to happen because it could go either way, right? The way they play that is really well done. You don't ever get the satisfaction of them getting together until the last episode of the season. And it keeps you hanging on so good. Every episode, you're like, is it going to happen this episode? Is it going to happen this episode? And it just doesn't, and it doesn't. And it keeps you so engaged. And amidst all that drama and all that emotional writing, there is just so many jokes. Like, it's constant jokes. Every episode is so funny. So this is why it's my number 2, because I just think it's really well done. It's just really well done. You root for it so hard. And of course it ends with the casino night episode. Very end of the season is Jim and Pam kissing, and you don't really know what's going to happen. And I think that's amazing. I mean, it just felt like season 2, they really hit their stride. It's like season 1 was like the trial, and then they got season 2 and they came and they delivered. So number 2 on my list is season 2. I just think, okay, so if you've done mental math, you would be able to deduce what season's next, but I'll just spoil it. Number 1, the first season on my ranking list, the best season of The Office ever, in my humble opinion, if you disagree, comment below, is season 4. Season 4, baby. I think they are just so locked in season 4. all the characters are developed. That's my thing. It's like the writing in season 2 I think is better, and like the drama is better, and there's like more to like, there's more tension in season 2 I think. But having all the characters fully locked and loaded, like having Angela be Angela, having Phyllis be Phyllis, having Kevin be Kevin, Oscar, Toby, Meredith, yeah, I mean I'm blanking on the rest, but like having them all be so developed at this point, it serves the show so well. The show feels perfectly balanced this season. It feels like everybody's just really in flow state. Ryan and Kelly are like having really funny moments this whole time. Ryan being a dick is hilarious because in the first season, the first episode of the show, Ryan shows up and he's a temp. This season he rises to this like crazy corporate position, like he gets promoted a bunch and he becomes such a piece of shit. And he lives in New York, and he's all holier than thou because he lives in New York, and he's always bragging about his haircut cost $200 and all this shit. Michael thinks he's like hot shit. We have Andy there, but we're out of the hell of Stamford. Like we have Andy being a full-blown character and really well developed, and I think Andy's so critical to the show. I think he's incredible. He's like kind of a foil to Michael in a way because he's like dumb in a different way, and I think it was perfect when they eventually made him the manager. He has the same likability but assness that Michael does until he loses it in season 9 when they make him a villain, but I didn't agree with that. But there are so many funny episodes of this show in season 4. The fun run, well, okay, I think it starts, isn't the first episode Michael hitting Meredith with his car? Isn't that number 1? Yeah, I think the first moment of this season is so funny. He's like, I think we're doing great. I think it's going to be a great year. And as soon as he says like a really optimistic quote, you hear bang and you see Meredith get T-boned by his car. Like she rolls up on his windshield, and the way he reacts to it, he looks at the camera in this hysterical way. It's so funny. That's the first moment of the season, and that's a 2-parter. And I think it's so hysterical. And also Michael eats like an entire chicken Alfredo before he goes to run, and then he like can't finish and he's cramping up. The dinner party. Dinner party is my favorite episode ever. When you get an insight into how Michael and Jan are living, and you go into their house together, and Jan is such a psychopath, it's so unhinged that they be together, but it's also still so believable. And I think that's what the early seasons of The Office do so well, is that they walk this fine line between like the ordinary, the average, and then the exaggerated, but they make it believable the whole time. There's not a single moment that doesn't make sense. Like even those two together, even though it's so weird and strange, and like Dwight and Angela together is so weird and strange, it just they make it work so well. It's such good TV. I'm really obsessed with the show, and I will never shut the up about it, honestly. That's my official ranking list, my unofficial official ranking list of the seasons of The Office. Thank you for wasting some time with me today, and I'm sorry that it's a little messy back there. I just noticed that the bed is not made. But that's all right. You don't care, right? Again, more singing videos to come, and thank you for your patience on that. Subscribe to my channel and keep your eye out for the next video. It should be coming soon. I'll see you next time.